Hey, hello, this is Sean with the podcast Thrive Not Survive After Child Abuse. Merry Christmas. Yeah, it is at least at the day of the recording. It's Christmas. You might listen to this at another time, but it is Christmas day today. So always, one of my favorite holidays since I was a kid. And it was not only until I started to actually, grow up and definitely start to travel around that I recognized how many different Christmas traditions we have around the world. You know, if we only look at the food tradition we have around the world, it's kind of funny because it's changed, by the way, over time in my family. But for the longest time, if not for all the time, at least in our family, we would eat some sort of a protein, and there would be a bird or some sort of a good piece of meat or something like that. A lot of side dishes, but it always had to be potatoes. Now, you might think that's really, what's so special about that? Well, in my family, I grew up in the Netherlands, but I grew up in an Asian family. So we ate 90% of the time during the year, we ate rice. And, potatoes was something really special for us. So up till today, for me at least as a tradition, I don't like to eat anything else than at least some sort of potatoes, mashed potatoes preferable, and then with some sort of a protein. Now, I know in Germany, for instance, they ate a lot of geese around Christmas. In England, the turkey is actually very popular, as it is for Thanksgiving in the United States. But also in the United States, turkey and ham are very popular. So you have a lot of traditions. In Italy, for instance, I'm not sure if every Italian family does it, but in Italy you have a dish, and it is 7 fishes, and 7 is coming because 7 is the most used number in the Bible. So in Poland they have another tradition. I'm not sure if every Polish family is doing that, but they have something that is out of 12 dishes, and 12 is because of the 12 apostles. So anyhow, I think the funniest thing that I found was actually the tradition to eat at KFC, or order food from KFC during Christmas, which is Japanese. It's very popular in Japan to get KFC food during Thanksgiving. Can you imagine that? That's kind of funny, right? So anyhow, traditions, right? We have a lot of traditions, and a lot of them are linked to the way we celebrate our holidays, right? Now, typically Christmas is linked to a Christian holiday. It's the birth of Christ. If you don't believe in Christ, most people still celebrate some sort of Christmas. And for the longest time, don't immediately, don't listen to my podcast, because I just admit that I do believe in Christ. But for the longest time, I believe that Christmas should be a day of peace, a celebration of peace. So I think that's still a good thing to follow, isn't it? So you see that a lot of people around the world actually see it like that. Tradition of, or a holiday for peace and, and respect, tolerance maybe, things like that. Now, if it comes to tolerance and tradition, it's kind of funny actually if you think about it. Because even a thing like Merry Christmas nowadays sometimes can be offensive, or at least controversial. Well, if you think about it from the English word merry, it actually, we wish something joyful, something cheerful to the other person. And like I said yesterday, it is about the intent of it. Right? Now, some traditions that we have in the world, at the time when these traditions emerged, right, they were, at least in the context of that time, pretty normal. But maybe in the context of today, we need to adjust them a little bit. A very controversial holiday in the Netherlands, for instance, is Santa Claus. Yeah, we don't have Santa Claus during Christmas, but we have Saint Nicholas, which is the same figure. By the way, if you think about the history, and we have that on the 6th and the 5th of December. That's when the kids get presents. And Saint Nicholas, he has helpers like Santa Claus. Now, these helpers of St. Nicholas, at least in the Netherlands, Belgium, some parts of Germany, they could be somewhat offensive to some ethnic groups in the world. And I don't think any of these holidays is meant to offend anyone. So we could definitely look at how to change these things and remain the tradition. Now, this is a thing that I think we need to learn and maybe look at it during Christmas. Many things that we do are not intended to offend the other person or the other culture or the other group or the other country, whatever it is, right? So, but if it does, we need to be willing to change that tradition. But the other party also needs to, be a little bit tolerant in understanding that this tradition was not meant to offend the other person. It's all about tolerance, right? And it's respect, and it's about thinking about what's the intention behind this tradition. Me, myself, actually, I think it's very nice that we have all these different traditions. I think, it is that diversity that we have as human beings that makes it all so interesting for me, right? If I want to eat some nice different fruit cakes or fruit pie, as we say in England, then I would go to England, right? I would get that. If I want panettone, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but that is definitely something that we know very well in Italy. Right, and so every country has, and maybe if I want to eat really good KFC, I have to go to Japan during Christmas. I don't know about that, but so you see that all these different traditions and my travels around the world actually made me see the beauty of it. Right, we don't want to bring the world together and have all one tradition, but you have one day. It's Christmas Day. It's celebrated almost everywhere around the world. Even if you're not Christian, it doesn't really matter, right? It could be easily seen as a day where we think about, the merry and the happy things of life, where we maybe are a little bit more grateful. Maybe we think about peace, how we can achieve that. So I think different traditions in life can learn us something. If some of these traditions maybe kind of, offend you, then I apologize because that's not what it's meant to be. But on the other hand, sometimes what things that offended me in the past, and if I look and understand the culture it's coming from, actually I got more understanding from it. So it's always a game, so to speak, that needs to look from all sides. I think we need to find some sort of a unity in our diversity. Let it be a good credo for us, unity and diversity, because that makes everything so beautiful in the world. And if we can find it as human beings, and if you just look at it in nature, I'm just here in a simple park in my neighborhood, but there's so much diversity already of birds and what have you not. Actually, that makes the thing super beautiful, right? So it's maybe one day in a year, December 25th, where we can find it, or as a good reminder. So that was my Christmas wish for all of you. Find unity in diversity. This was Jean from the podcast Thrive, Not Survive After Child Abuse. I wish you again a very Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.